about her speech. At a rally in Sacramento, you accused her of lying about your foreign policy as it relates to expressing support for Japan being able to get nuclear weapons.
100%.
Well, let me just read from you.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's absolutely no doubt that Donald Trump is a pathological liar. However, he is correct. Donald Trump is correct on this issue alone. Take a look.
About her speech. At a rally in Sacramento, you accused her of lying about your foreign policy as it relates to expressing support for Japan being able to get nuclear weapons.
100%.
Well, let me just read from you and explain to me. This is from an April 3rd interview with Chris Wallace of Fox News. You said, North Korea has nukes, Japan has a problem with that. I mean, they have a big problem with that. Maybe they would, in fact, be better off if they defend themselves from North Korea. Chris Wallace says, with nukes, and you say, including with nukes. Yes, including with nukes.
Yeah, but here's what you don't have. Every time I've ever said anything about Japan defending themselves, and again, they're going to have to defend themselves with whatever they're going to have. We right now defend Japan. Japan pays us a small fraction of the cost, a very small fraction. I want them to pay us at least the cost because we don't have.
It's about 50%.
It's actually less than 50%, but General got on and said 50% recently. But even if it was 50%, weren't they paying us 100%?
It should be 100%.
Of course they should pay 100%. You're talking about billions and billions of dollars, and you're talking about worse than that. You're talking about World War III. Somebody attacks Japan, and we end up in World War III.
It's a
and by the way, no, listen to this. If we get attacked, Japan doesn't have to defend us. Okay, that's pretty bad. Whenever I talk about Japan and defense and NATO and defense and Saudi Arabia and, by the way, Germany, a lot of people don't even know. You know, until I got involved in this argument, most people didn't even know we were defending Japan and Germany. They knew about Saudi Arabia. I mean, Saudi Arabia's got more money than anybody. Why aren't they paying us? Okay.
We have bases. We have military bases.
Yeah, we pay rent on those bases. We pay rent. And, we pay rent in Saudi Arabia. We're defending them. We're paying rent.
But anyway, my only point is...
No, what I'm saying, though, Jake, is... How can this be possible? Why aren't they paying at least the cost? And don't forget, that cost, then we have tremendous backup and other things. I mean, we're providing a tremendous service. Our country is stone cold broke. We owe $19 trillion. It's going to be $21 trillion very soon. So whenever I talk about Japan or Germany or Saudi Arabia, I always say, no. If they don't make us whole, they may have to defend themselves.
That's where the nukes would come in. If they don't pay for the 100%.
That's up to them. It's not up to me. It's up to them.
Okay.
But you know what I think is going to happen? You have to be prepared to walk from a deal. You can't go in there saying, like Hillary said, we will never let our partners down. We will never, never, never. Okay, that's wonderful. Except, you know what? If I'm Japan, I say, good. We might as well keep paying the 50%. It's actually less than that. We might even just keep paying what we're paying, which is a fraction of the cost. You have to be prepared to walk. If you aren't prepared to walk, you're never going to be able to. These are very smart people we're dealing with, okay? They've been ripping us off for a long time. And I love Japan. I have many friends in
These
Japan.
are U.S. allies. I mean, major U.S. allies.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
It's got to work two ways.
Okay.
They never talk about the economics. They never talk about the cost. Big factor. Big factor.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. America has been ripped off by Japan for decades. Is that true? I don't know. But the fact is, Mr. Barack Obama visited Hiroshima as the first incumbent or the sitting US president to send out his message to make a world without nuclear weapons. America has been developing its nuclear, so-called the nuclear arsenal potentials. Same with Russia and China. Now, Japan has North Korea next to us. Next to North Korea is China. China, then Russia. They're all communist countries or dictatorship. This authoritarian regime out there. So Japan is surrounded by these erratic monsters, unpredictable monsters, okay? And Mr. Trump is saying that Japan should have the capacity to defend on its own. I mean, that is totally correct. I mean, if you are a grown-up adult, you don't count on your parents to protect you. You're not a little boy. You're not little Marco. That Japan should should build up the capacity to defend on its own, especially when you see an arrogant country like China. Look what they're doing. Look what they're doing in Asia now, in South China Sea. They're building up all these, they're reclaiming thousands of land and coral reefs and building these military bases in South China Sea, as well as they're infiltrating the Japanese waters in the Senkaku Islands in the western part of Japan, western part of Okinawa, southwest near Taiwan. So, and we got North Korea too. So one thing the world should acknowledge is that I don't jump to the conclusion of nuclear weapons, but Mr. Trump, for the first time in his life, has made a correct remark that Japan should, 71 years after World War II, should stop depending on the United States military for protection like a little Marco. We better grow up. As a Japanese myself, I am ashamed of my country because we are such pussies. I don't want to use this word, but if David Cameron is a panting puppy of China, Japan, unfortunately, is also a panting puppy of America, unfortunately. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I am not declaring World War IV or World War V, okay? I'm not in a Donald Trump fan club. I'm just a fan of Kei Nishikori and Novak Djokovic. Congratulations, Novak. Uniqlo, man, the best underpants in the world. Thank you very much. And make Japan great again!